What is going on, everybody? How are you all doing? We got a cozy little group in here. It's okay. It's quite the hangover when you go from interviewing the NBA Top Shot GM to then just taking a week off because you're so jet lagged. And now we're hanging out here today, and we'll cover some topics here, and it's good. You'll be able to get your comments out there. So I see we got Noam, Stan Love, Chef Prez, and a few other people that are watching and not commenting. That's okay. But I feel like we can start off tonight by having a little discussion around marketing. Um, Marketing and locking and all that good stuff. Because 2 weeks ago, when we had our chat with Janie, which was a really good chat, I thought Janie was very transparent. I thought she gave you the Janie product that you're used to. There were some ideas that we talked maybe longer than we needed to, but I felt like a lot of ideas got out on the table, things and thoughts about kiosks, for example. Janie actually brought that one back up. And it seemed like, for example, on that subject, on kiosks, the big deal seemed to be that Janie thought that Top Shot just had a lot of things that were missing at this point. So even if you had a kiosk, you don't have the really easy mobile onboarding, let's say. That seemed to be a big problem in Janie's eyes. So it was good to hear things like that. It was good to hear the reaction to when hard court, as much as Alexa was dying to play hard court. On his Nokia flip phone, there's no hard court, and there's no hard court coming for quite a while, according to Janie. So, it seems like they are instead diving in headfirst to the third party, the partners. And that could be good. It all depends on how it's integrated into the NBA Top Shot website, right? And the thing that I feel like we all hammer on and on about is the subject of supply. And hello, we the people. Thank you. And Janie gave her response to that. Now, granted, she gave the wrong number at first and corrected herself on Twitter. Hey, Top Shot, Thought Shot. Hello. So she said, I think 65% reduction, and later said, actually, no, it's 55%. Whatever. That's not that big a deal. Again, I think the minute details are not quite as important, partly because it's like an incomplete calculation. The other thing, though, that somebody brought up on Twitter, which I thought was very valid and something that we didn't talk about with Janie, and maybe I can actually bring this up so we can even look at it and discuss it. But one issue with circulation is that, for example, many of the 60K moments have been minted but are not fully circulated. So many of those 60K moments are actually currently out of like 30K, let's say. And obviously the market could be doing better, and that's what we kind of drum on about forever. So if I were to go find, let's say this Clay Thompson, all right? So I'm going to share this Clay Thompson with you all. Let's share that Clay Thompson, right? So this Clay Thompson, out of 60,000, 2 of them have been burned, but there's still 18,700 that are hidden in packs. And I think that there's other examples where this number is even higher. I didn't do the research. I am just talking out of my ass right now. But my point to that is technically, let's say circulation on this moment is like 32,420. Nice, right? So the question becomes, are we talking pure circulation, pure minting? What exactly are we talking? And we didn't really get anything on that. Granted, nobody asked the question, and neither did we. Hello, Collins. Hello, Wilder. Chef Prez wants the run it backpack. We know that that's going to happen in September. I mean, we can talk a little about September. We know that the snapshot is happening sometime after September 6th, right? We don't know exactly when. We already have tinfoil hat Jeb Bush, who thinks that it's going to happen on a Tuesday. So I think he called, I don't know what he called, September 13th, let's say. Here's the thing, though. I'm wondering if you guys have thought about this at all, which is like, this is just the first snapshot. So if you're like right on the line, I think you got to think that the next snapshot, whatever that might be, if you're right on the line right now, then you're probably going to be way off the line on the second snapshot, potentially. So it's a tricky game, I got to say. I mean, like, I was thinking about locking some Celtics moments, and I did. I locked a bunch of playoff Celtics moments. And then I had two MGLEs that I overpaid for last summer. And hello, Mike, how are you? And I thought to myself, when I did that little calculation, when you can see where you're going to be if you lock those things, I saw it and I thought, okay, well, I can wait and I can lock those later and I'll be fine. I'll be sitting in at like 500 something. I'll be just fine. Well, time went on. Now I look and I'm not even in the top 1200 if I were to lock those two MGLEs. So then I think to myself, well, what if I complete that S2 set and buy that Aaron Nesmith that I don't really want? Would that get me in? So I add 10,000 to my score and I'm still not in the top 750. So this is going to be a game where it's constantly moving around. You can't blame Top Shot for the fact that things are moving around, which is a good thing. You know, Top Shot is not changing the rules. It is your co-collectors that are now aping in at times that you didn't foresee. And now when they ape in later on in the game, you then drop down your score potentially. There's things we could also talk about just about the locked leaderboards in general, and how obviously the people that are earliest on this platform are, filling up the top of all these leaderboards. And is there some other way that we could sort of make it more fair for the people that got in later? I think what they're doing now around that idea is at least randomizing certain rewards. So like, I think that's what I think was going to happen. So just because you're Alexo and you're sitting at number 1 doesn't necessarily mean that you are just going to get all the rewards in the future. Okay, let's see. Checklist going to be the new wave. Josh thinks hopefully when TSS updates in real, people will be rewarded with more TSS if your moments are good enough. Josh, I didn't really understand what that meant. So the Top Shot score updates in real time. People will be rewarded with more Top Shot score if your moments are good enough. Well, what makes a good moment? That one I'm not quite sure I follow. But there's so that's what's happening on the leaderboards, right? So there's a lot of leaderboard anxiety right now. People are feeling a little queasy about those leaderboards, maybe a little bit of this. You know, there's definitely a lot of people saying that as they check their position on the leaderboards and they're seeing it dropping. And the other thing to also discuss around leaderboards is the effect that those leaderboards are having currently on the market. So I think a really good example of this is if you look at a player that is a bottleneck that isn't exactly a great player or a fantastic moment, other than the fact that they are a bottleneck. So let's look at Gerald Brantley, Utah Jazz superstar Gerald Brantley. Well, before anyone was talking about leaderboards, I mean, we'd have to go pretty far back. But if we go like over here, let's say, it's trading at about $100 and it 2x thanks to the leaderboards. And so now we're up here and we're at about 210. So we see things are creeping up as people are getting ready for that snapshot. So my question then becomes, if bottlenecks are pumping, um, like this is just kind of this is something that just has to happen because we're going with this method of rewarding our collectors. My only concern though is that this does become a little bit confusing to a new user or to a user that we hope to gain by pumping up the marketing channels, right? So that is something that we know is going to happen. It's something that Janie discussed on our chat, and they're looking at traditional areas and TV and wherever else to market to the tune of 30 to 60 million dollars. And that is something though that crosses my mind, which is that if you are a Utah Jazz fan and all of a sudden you see that Brantley is way up there in price compared to some other players that should be higher, it might be a little bit confusing. So it seems like there's always going to be something a little bit confusing about onboarding onto NBA Top Shot, but that is just kind of where we're at. That's where we organically got to at this point. So let's see what else we see here. So Poker Pro says he knows the answer to all these questions and plans for the future. Okay, so we saw that photo with Poker Pro Eric and Janie on the golf course. And apparently Poker Pro Eric has all of the alpha, the 1-to-1 alpha. And I guess that means just start following Poker Pro Eric's live token account and just buy what he buys. Not financial advice, of course. So yeah, I think that is just where we're at. And I think also what's interesting as we see as NBA Top Shot has these growing pains, but at the same time, we're seeing a lot of great development on NBA Top Shot. Its brother or cousin at the moment, or whatever you want to call it, who's living in the same household, is NFL All Day. NFL All Day seems to be having its moment right now. We have the beginning of the NFL season happening in 1 week. And what we saw is a lot of marketing happening on Twitter. So if we take a look real quick, we see that they are going to have a tailgate. So they're going to have an official NFL All-Day tailgate at the NFL kickoff game in LA on September 8th. That is next Sunday, sorry, that's not next Sunday. That's what, Thursday? I don't even know what the NFL schedule is anymore. But so anyhow, they're going to have a kickoff. The staff's going to be there, other collectors, free food, free drinks. So that's cool. And I think that a lot of NBA Top Shot fans saw this and thought, well, can we have some of that? And I would imagine that you probably will. I mean, we did have the event at the beginning of the year last year at the Bucks game, right? So it's not like NBA Top Shot didn't do this. But let's see what else we got here. This one was also pretty interesting. Odell Beckham bought his historical moment, number 3 out of 10, for $50,000. $50,000 purchase by Odell Beckham. That was worth looking at and worth considering. The reason why this is cool is because we want this to be a product where the athletes are buying their own moments. That is the goal. We want the athletes to be more involved in the platform. We also saw, Janie was alluding to this during the chat. She was saying that they have these relationships with these athletes, but they're really busy, and maybe they sort of need someone to help them figure out what they should be buying, et cetera, et cetera. That's kind of how this smells to me. Not that that's a bad thing, but that kind of smells like that to me, which is someone has a relationship with Odell Beckham, and he said, and they're saying, hey, you get buy this moment, make a little splash because this is going to achieve some kind of third party marketing where it's like the player is buying his own moment, and that is going to potentially look good and potentially cause a ripple. What else did we see? We also saw Richard Sherman. I think he bought more than one of his historical moment numbered to 70. So same idea. What was interesting too, though, is that Richard Sherman answered a fan who had said something to the tune of like, what do you think this says? Should more players get involved? What does this mean for the price of the moments? Someone who is asking the hard questions. And Richard Sherman basically said, I buy the moment because I like the moment and I can't tell anyone else what to buy. So that was kind of interesting because if we go back to what we were just talking about Odell Beckham Jr. buying his moment for $50,000, it felt very much connected to like an all-day marketing tactic, in my opinion. And then what Richard Sherman said felt a little bit detached from that. So, in my opinion, we know that there's players in the NBA that are also dropping a lot of cash on moments, like Harrison Barnes, right? We know that Richard Sherman is kind of nerdy and probably likes digital collectibles. Not that just nerds like digital collectibles, but kind of in a way. And so in that regard, it almost feels like the OBJ one is more of like a marketing tactic, and the Sherman one could potentially be more like the Harrison Barnes one. Although I wouldn't be surprised if they're both just related to marketing for NFL All Day. But I don't hate it. I think it's actually pretty smart. We want players to get more involved. I do question, does there need to be some transparency behind that? Like, do we as collectors feel like that is necessary or not? Like if Dapper is giving them some funds to say go play around, because I remember actually when Josh Hart had his deal with Dapper and he was given a whole bunch of packs, right, instead of payment. I mean, in theory, he could have sold off those moments and bought more moments, done whatever he want with it, but we knew about it. In this case, we don't as of right now. Is that an issue? I wonder what you guys think in the chat. Let me see real quickly what's going on in the comment section here. Poker Pro says, just because I know doesn't mean I have newfound wealth to spend. Okay, so something's happening on the higher priced moments, Poker Pro. Poker Pro, you want to get on and give us all the alpha? Come on, let's do it. It is NBC Sunday Night Football on Thursday night. Exactly. It's a cash cow, man. I won't be surprised when the NFL literally has a game every night of the week. It's only a matter of time. And Brad would figure that OBJ would have liked to buy his jersey number. Boudevane, what is going on? Thank you for joining. Good evening, Boudevane. And Corey's asking that question. Does it matter if Dapper gave them that money to spend on the moment? I don't think it does matter. I'm just wondering how you guys feel, because we did get a little transparency when it was Josh Hart getting those packs, right? A deep threat feels seen. Only nerds like digital collectibles. I mean, I think that there is an element to everyone who collects crypto and NFTs. You kind of have to be a little bit nerdy. It's a little nerdy. And that doesn't have to be a bad thing. It just means you're technically savvy. You were probably playing Nintendo, and depending on your age, Game Boy and Atari, and you were reading the strategy guides, and that's okay. There's no judgment here because I was doing that too. Nerds is not necessarily a bad word. Okay. So let's see. Is there anything else I had bookmarked here about NFL All Day? We saw that 1,300 new owners since September 1st, even after the rent seekers are gone. That's something I want to talk about later. I thought, though, it might be interesting to see like what effect this marketing blitz has had on NFL All Day, because I know that that's kind of part of the holy grail that as Top Shot users, we are waiting. NFL All Day puts out this commercial with Patrick Mahomes, which felt very cool, very much to the point. He's on there. It's all dark behind him. The lights are on his face. It's very to the point about collecting these digital moments, right? And it felt good. It felt like a good campaign. I think we probably have 2020 vision. Our vision is a little bit cloudy in sort of in a negative way when we look back on the Kevin Durant campaign, because we see what happened right after that with those pack drops. It wasn't exactly a great situation because of technical issues with the randomizer and things like that, things that we've moved past. However, this was the new kid in town. This was the new cool kid in town. NFL All Day with their commercials, and they just seem to be making good decisions thus far with circulation, with supply, etc. Right? And so here we go. Everyone's thinking, hey, NFL All Day to the moon, right? So that was on August 18th. So let's take a look. August 18th. So this must have been right around here, must have been when word was getting out that ads were coming. So people started dumping money in. It went from 86 million cap to 91 overnight, basically, right? We keep on going. It keeps growing. People are saying, yeah, I guess I do need to buy some all day, don't I? Then here it is, August 18th, the ad airs and it pumps quite a bit. I mean, that's probably one of the bigger spikes on this whole chart, right? So it went from about 93.8 all the way up to 99 million market cap. It then sunk back down, then popped right up again. I don't quite understand what that was, unless that was a pack release, I'm guessing. So the market cap increases, and then it goes on a slow decline, another pack release, and now it seems pretty healthy though at the moment. I mean, the fact that you do have those pack releases, though, of course, that affects market cap, and it can affect market cap like user sentiment in a way negatively when you are pulling out from users' wallets to buy more product. However, as of right now, it's pretty healthy, which makes sense. I mean, we're right before the start of the season. People are getting ready for NFL All Day. But what about unique owners? So before we're looking at, by the way, how do you lose unique owners, by the way? That is confusing. But the number is going down here. It's going down, down. Somebody explain that one to me. But then right out like 2 days after the ad, it goes and it bumps up. What was the bump though? It looks like the bump was about 2,000 users. So I think that might say something in face of, in face of data when we try to think about what kind of impact does a marketing blitz make. And in this case, I think it shows us that it's still quite difficult to onboard people into the NFT space. And we saw a conversation about that. Janie actually quote tweeted some article about this recently, about how the sports online memorabilia on digital collectible market is exploding, and kind of how do we onboard more users into the space? And I think what we can see here is it's still quite challenging because, all else things being equal, that was quite a marketing blitz, and that's not a ton of new users. So anyhow, that's where we're at. I haven't been lining up for packs, so I don't actually know how many active pack buyers there are in NFL All Day, let's say. And I also don't really understand why these things jump like this. I'm wondering if that's just new buyers for each pack, people signing up their dogs and girlfriends for the new packs. I don't really know. I also don't understand how those unique numbers are going down. So anyhow, I wanted to share that as we talked a little bit about NFL All Day and the marketing that's happening on NFL All Day. And Collins is saying mainstream adoption is the way, and I would agree. And there's something actually that I want to talk about in that regard about mainstream adoption, but also something about revenue coming from places other than packs. But so Poker Pro is sharing a little bit of alpha here. He says, okay, fine. Tandy can know too. Janie would love to offer more games and all that, but the more Top Shot delves into fantasy and money contests, the more SEC regulations and agents get involved. I don't feel like that's a lot of alpha, Poker Pro. I feel like I asked her that on stream. I think that also makes a lot of sense. It's just too clearly gambling when we're talking about paying for fantasy games or receiving payouts thanks to fantasy games that are not in the form of moments, right? Chef Prez, I think people will take All Day and Top Shot more serious when they give out more tickets for collecting their products. Sure. Fenny's here. What is going on, Fenny? Poker Pro, Dapper Labs isn't trying to be DraftKings. They are an NFT company, Web3. And I agree with you, Poker Pro. And I think the challenge with NFTs right now, too, in general, is this whole idea of utility. Because when people are collecting physical cardboard, and that physical cardboard is spiking, and as it did, and since then it's actually dropped pretty badly, but physical cardboard was going crazy. There were even groups being formed of like venture capitalists that were buying up all the highest priced physical cardboard players like Wayne Gretzky rookies and Michael Jordan rookies. That was when speculation was going wild, but there was never any talk about utility, right? And I think that that is definitely a difficult thing. If we were seeing that with NBA Top Shot, we'd be in a way healthier place. But the thing is that NFTs and Web3 just open up this universe, metaverse, let's call it. By the way, did you see that video of Mark Zuckerberg like doing jiu-jitsu or something, or taekwondo? He's looking pretty large, huh? He's large and in charge. Don't mess with Mark Zuckerberg. He's going to take on Bezos in the ring one day, maybe in the cage, steel cage match. Bezos drops Zuckerberg off the steel cage through the table. So that's where it's at, though. It's like these moments for this to be truly a healthy collectible market would be that people don't care about utility. It's just you buy the best stuff, but we're not there. We might, I don't know if we might never be there because this is a Web3 product for the reasons that I said. So Top Shot Thought Shot says Dapper is leaving a lot on the table, not adding more to the all-day fantasy aspect, but good for OTM. So Top Shot Thought Shot, you saw though what Janie said on my show, and also what PPE said to Janie on the golf course, which is they kind of have to keep an arm's length distance from it for those reasons. Noam thinks that if they do a captain program for specific countries, we can grow the user base. In my case, if I and a few more people in the Israel community had a budget to make activities, we can do it. Noam, I do think that that will probably come. I think it's just a little early now. Like I think they're kind of going from lily pad to lily pad. The first lily pad, and right now NBA Top Shot is a frog, is the team sets, right? And next, maybe it'll be some sets on the platform. And after that, maybe it could be countries. Corey H, price going up is the utility that we need. And Poker Pro says, ironically enough, the rare Honus Wagner was bought by Wayne Gretzky. The world is a circle. Sure. And there's also a Mickey Mantle purchase that happened the other day, which was one of the largest ever. I think it was somewhere in the multiple millions of dollars. And yes, I can be the Portuguese captain, I guess. You know what though? I don't envy some of these captains. These people have to be incredibly organized and incredibly, active in these communities, and they are basically working as volunteers. I mean, they definitely get to enjoy all these events, which is great, but in effect, you're a volunteer. So let's see. Poker Pro wants to go to Israel together. I would love to go to Israel together. I answered that on Twitter. You give me that room and board and that flight, I am there as long as you want. We'll do it in Hebrew. Mashlomcha, Kol Beseder, L'chaim, Shalom, and Mazel Tov. We'll get there together. Corey's asking though, has the captain's program helped to get more users? So I imagine it has, but I don't know though what like the ROI is, let's call it, because I know we talk a lot about ROI when we talk about kiosks, right? Kiosks, right? We're going to talk about kiosks for the rest of the stream. That's what everybody wants. Just kidding. But I'm sure that there have been an increase in users. I don't know that it's been, a hockey stick growth, but I know that there have been some. I just don't know what it is compared to how much money is being spent. And I know that Janie also alluded to that, which is that the more money goes to the groups that are getting more users through onto Top Shot. I also think that there's other benefits just to have these programs, like beyond just getting new users onto NBA Top Shot. It's not just an ROI play, which is funny enough, because again, this is like it reminded me exactly of the kiosk argument, but it's a traditional play. It's like you get to be a part of a group. You get to feel this connection to other internet users, as my friend Ben Shavar would say. He wants to hang out with other men on the internet. And this allows that to happen, and it is fun. I went to the event in Boston. I had a really good time. It is fun. Whether or not that brings in a bunch of new users, I don't know. But at least as a Top Shot user who got to go to an event, I see the value there that I get to enjoy. So that is worth something. As users, we should be happy about that. It's not all about bringing in new users through the door. I know we all want our moments to go up in value, but that is an enjoyable thing. And I'm sure all of you that have been lucky enough to go to those events can probably say the same. Noam is saying, if we can make it to the trip, I promise a good time. I know you do, Noam. I'd love to be there. Poker Pro saying the Top Shot Kingdom has signed up dozens. Airplane is saying kiosks. Chops is saying, I don't think the captain's program brought more users, but it kept the current users hanging around. And etablo, excuse me. New users have a tough time navigating to find communities. So are you saying that it's hard for the new users to find the communities? I know that NBA Top Shot is working on that. We've seen the landing pages for the different programs, right? And Poker Pro has zero alpha or new info on kiosk. Don't want to beat that dead horse. Yeah, I know. I don't expect you to. Chef Press, how about Top Shot running a daily contest and the reward will be allowed list spot? I agree. That is a good idea. It's not money. Mick Beeman says, seems like we only have about 5,000 active users, maybe another 15 to 20,000 passive. And Brent is saying, I'm a Celtics fan that lives in Colorado. I joined the Nuggets team Discord and can't wait to meet other Top Shot users in real life. Right, Brent, I'm telling you right now, it's a good time, man. It's a good time just to hang out, have a few drinks. It's just fun. I don't know what else to tell you. It's a fun time. And there's like a very decent chance that you'll get tickets to go to a game with some of those fellow collectors. Okay. So we didn't talk about actually Series 1 locker packs. I want to talk about that real briefly because as we finished the interview with Janie, the Series 1 locker packs were released. And what did we see? We saw them sell out extremely fast. We saw one incredibly lucky user rip both a LeBron Top Shot debut and a Steph Curry Top Shot debut, which is just bonkers. So it all got bought up fairly quickly. I can't say that I'm super surprised. I'd say that's a success. And I would also say, would it kill us to maybe release double the quantity next time at once? Would it kill us to maybe up the odds a little bit, just a little bit, and release more moments at once? Because someone did the calculation on Twitter, and I think they thought it's going to take 8 or 9. I don't want to misquote him, but it's either, I want to say months, 8 or 9 months if it's one of these per month. So that is a pretty slow drip. I know that there's people who are not very happy with that because they just want everything out already and rip the Band-Aid. Just get it all out there, get all the S1 out there, or just burn it or do something. So I know some people don't like that. However, people clearly like the gamble. So kudos to NBA Top Shot for listening to the community, for getting that vote that was on Discord where you click the button. And I hope we see more of that. And I hope we see that on the website itself. I thought that was actually great, even though it wasn't like thousands and thousands and thousands of people turning out, but it was a great, a representation of the rest of the community. So Chef Prez is saying that Top Shot could help captains get discounts on team merch or tickets. They could. That's true. It could come from their own coffers or if they had agreements in place with teams. Brent was saying if I still was in Boston, I would have been at that last event. Yep. Poker Pro, did you see the Jay Metz tweets today about burning all previous supply? He went wild. Corey wants to burn them all. Top Shot, thought shot. Always, that's a tricky one. One more drop and burn the rest. We the people. I'm still team burn everything. S3 killed the vibes. Poker Pro, Scotty D reports is in Top Shot Kingdom. Okay. And he hit a legendary all day this week. And Mr. Baseballer here says, Top Shot, in my opinion, is missing the mark, turning sport moment collectibles into a challenge/game. I loved collecting cards, and every guy I knew did also. I don't know anyone on Top Shot, #no challenges. So I think, though, Mr. Baseballer, I think that because of the nature of these collectibles, because of the nature of Web3, I don't think it would be that attractive if these were just basically like Panini. Like, I don't think the Panini digital moments have a challenge aspect, right? I don't think they do. And I think if I had to guess, I haven't looked at Panini in a long time, but if I had to guess, that market is probably pretty dead. It's just apples and oranges. I just don't think you can compare the two. The fact that these are on the blockchain, on the internet, get them right away on your browser, get them right away on your phone. We're going to have a mobile app soon. If it was purely just buy, sell, and that's the end of it, I just don't think there's enough of intrigue there. But that's just my opinion. You have yours. That's all good. Noam, when Top Shot will do anything? I'm getting bored here. LOL. No games, NBA challenges, etc. Yeah, I just think that we will see them get start to ramp up once we're closer to the season, which I believe is in about a month. Is airplane mode ask, is Trumpy pro kiosks? Well, I don't know. Trumpy, are you pro kiosks? Well, if you want to come, Trumpy, he doesn't want to come. We're gonna have that same problem again. Hold on, let's see if he wants to come. Trumpy, are you back there?
Yes, I am back here. Thank you. Uh, Let me tell you something, airplane mode. Uh, as far as kiosks, I like the kiosks, but they have to be incredibly expensive. The packs have to be incredibly expensive, and they have to be covered in gold.
All right, well, thank you, Trumpy. Noam, they have leaderboard locking. Budavane, time for some Euro basket challenges. That would be nice. So, Mike, the mobile app, it apparently, I think they said their target is for Kronksmas, aka Christmas, aka Santa baby. Bring that mobile app down the Christmas chimney or whatever, however that song goes. Chef Brez saying Top Shot has the edge. You don't have to get it graded. Corey saying Panini does have challenges. Andy saying what's good? What is good, Andy? And the preseason starts September 30th. Burning challenges on players who got traded. That'd be cool. Burn all of the Utah Jazz then. Yeah, I know. That's going to be a brand new team in brand new uniforms. That's going to be pretty strange for the Utah fans. And ThoughtShot heard that Trumpy was selling TopShot secrets to PPE. I heard that as well. I heard that he has a big folder of secrets and he's been selling those to PPE on the cheap. He's trying to sell them for a lot. He started getting undercutting, and Snooze wants to burn the actual Jazz franchise too. All right, well, apologies to the Jazz fans in the chat if you are here. So what else can we discuss? Well, I also know that NBA Top Shot released the WNBA Metallic Gold. So we can look at that real quick if you're interested. I personally, I don't collect WNBA. I do know a little bit about the WNBA, but not a whole lot. Free Brittany Griner, I know about that much. I know Sue Bird, I know Diana Taurasi, I know Sabrina Ionescu, but I'm not a big WNBA fan. Funny enough, though, I used to be like a ridiculously just degen sports gambler, and I used to bet on WNBA games when I knew literally less than I know now. I would just look at these forums that would say, "Here's what you need to pick. You need to bet on the LA Spark +4. Lisa Leslie's going to go off tonight," and such a degen. I would be betting on those games knowing absolutely nothing. But anyhow, so here we are. So, oops, sorry guys, I lost that 1 second. So here we are. We had that initial pop, of course, when the Moments first went on the market. A quick price discovery. Since then, it took a little bit of a dive, and now it's pretty much leveling out. I know we saw Steve Veerman say thank you to everyone for undercutting. We have 22 people just like Steve Veerman. No, sorry, 69 nice people just like Steve Veerman who have collected nearly the entire MGLE set, and at a price I think it was somewhere, was it $89 or something like that for the pack? It looks like, in terms of if you had like a good pack, that was only a few bucks over the pack price if you're lucky enough to get Sue Bird. Otherwise, not exactly the nicest return. I mean, although, what are we looking at here? A $30 loss? You could do worse, but on the plus side, there wasn't much upside there. So didn't look to be the greatest pack to purchase as of right now, as of current values. Who knows? Maybe those values will increase in the future. But that's what was going on for that pack. So We the People does not like the WNBA. He doesn't play any DFS for the WNBA. And Snooze saying, I was watching the WNBA today. Their playoffs are better than the NBA playoffs were this year, which isn't saying much, but I admit. How dare you snooze? The Boston Celtics made a wonderful run. Las Vegas is playing Seattle right now live if you want some action betting. Mike is saying, Poker Pro Eric, was that really you? Of course it was, Mike. Who do you think it was? And let's see what else. Corey wants WNBA to have their own site. I don't hate that idea. Some third party needs to do the best ball for all day where we lock up the moments we draft. They go to the league winners. Okay. Mr. Baseballer saying, do you think there's a market for classic card collecting? So I'm guessing you're talking about cardboard here. I think Top Shot could take that market, and because of the innate efficiency of a localized market and immediate authentication. Absolutely, Mr. Baseballer. We've been talking about this for a very long time. It's actually part of the reason why I'm so pro kiosk, which is because I do believe that if you have a beautiful, flashy looking thing at a card show, the biggest card shows possible, where all the card collectors go all over the United States, all throughout the year, that makes a lot of sense to me. This should be a market for those people. The question is it difficult right now for people still, even card collectors, to get their head around digital collectibles of moments and not cardboard of their favorite players, but instead digital moments of their favorite players? Is that still quite the leap? I don't know. Weisberg thinks the issue with the MG Elite Pack was the mint count and price. Poker Pro says the moments, WNBA moments would go to zero if they had their own separate site. Would it? Not necessarily. I don't think so. If they basically work the same but had their own site, why not? And Mike is saying the other issue here is that I'd bet that the Top Shot agreement with the NBA and W indicates that their packs have to be the same price. Okay. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Let's see. Tandy NFTs is here. End of summer, Tandy. Let's all celebrate. The NBA season is almost here. That's true. And you know what? We can talk about the NBA season real quick. We can talk about it because there was kind of a cool image today, which is this one, which was on my thumbnail. And let's look at it because I like it. So if you look at these teams, the tweet says, crazy to think that one of these teams will miss the playoffs. I don't think it's that crazy. I don't think it's that crazy, actually. But who do you think out of this group is going to miss the playoffs? Who do you think? I mean, we have a angry KD, a Kyrie who's about to lose his Nike deal, and Ben Simmons. We have our two DeJounte Murray and Trae Young over there in Atlanta. I mean, just those two. Do you think maybe they don't make the playoffs? It's possible. I don't know. Cleveland has got a new team, but sometimes it takes those new players some time to gel together, right? And we know that in Chicago, Lonzo Ball is injured. Looks like he's out for the year. So I don't know. I would think that probably if I had to bet, I'd say probably the Hawks. I wouldn't be shocked, honestly, if the Nets missed the playoffs. If some of these players just stop playing or if it just falls apart. Like if KD sits for some reason, they don't make the playoffs. And although Cleveland does have some new faces there and they're strong, and Evan Mobley is going to be a lot stronger this year, it takes some time for new teams to gel. So let's see what some of you all think, though. Let's see. And Tandy NFT is saying, I'm sorry to the Knicks fans out there who got scooped by the Cavs. Budavane thinks the Nets miss. We the people think Atlanta misses. Snooze thinks the Raptors miss it. Corey would rather have RJ and the picks than Mitchell. Anyway, Noam thinks that the Hawks are the weakest here. Stan Loves also thinks the Nets are going to choke. Weisberg thinks Celtics are tier 1, Bucks are tier 1, Cleveland, Miami, Brooklyn, Sixers tier 2, the rest are tier 3. Apparently I'm wrong. Lonzo's not out for the year. That's what I thought I read on Twitter. Chet, though, on the Oklahoma City Thunder, who looks like a gazelle running through the jungle, he is out for the year. Or not a gazelle, more like a baby giraffe. More like a baby giraffe. Mr. Baseballer is back talking about the physical cardboard. Digital, in my opinion, is an easy transfer because the market is more available. Agreed, Mr. Baseballer. That is the whole bullish case for NBA Top Shot, in my opinion. You don't have to go to the card stores or find authenticators. Agreed. In my opinion, it's a general lack of awareness combined with too many challenges. 100% agreed, Mr. Baseballer. Let's get this right for the collecting community. Yes, and part of that I do think is what Janie was talking about, getting that onboarding easier. Mobile app, thumbprint, Face ID, send that to China. Do something, make it easy, and get people at the card shows. Poker Pro saying, how's the rest of your NFT wallet looking these days? Not good, Poker Pro Eric. Not very good. Looking pretty bad. Doesn't that impact Top Shot too? Yes, it does, Poker Pro Eric. Doesn't the fact that the world is on fire impact Top Shot too? Yes, it does, Poker Pro Eric. Doesn't the fact that people in England won't be able to wash their dishes in October? Yes, that affects it, Poker Pro. Yes, it does. Doesn't the fact that the housing market is in a bubble potentially, and the supply is outpacing demand by a ridiculous amount, and housing prices in the United States are dipping for like the first time in years? Yes, it does, Poker Pro Eric. Does the fact that the mortgage interest rates are going up and people are freaking out and holding on to their wallets? Yes, that affects it. Yes, it does. But we don't get too caught up in the macro, the outside of the sports world, do we? We talk a little bit more about things that are happening now. There were articles in the past where some wars in other country were talked about in terms of why the NBA Top Shot wasn't doing so well, and it doesn't quite come across well. So those are all real problems, though. Noam, did you talk about the picture of the player leaderboards that Team Hold shared on Twitter? I have that right here, Noam. Funny you should ask. Let's get that over here. Where is it? It is, sorry, a lot of tabs. Got a lot of tabs back here. Okay, here it is. Let's share it. All right, player leaderboards. So, by the way, shout out to Nickel. I always think this is Nickelback, but no, TS Nick B505 currently is a hot mess. And he was like, oh, we got some drama right now. Nick B was like, hey, man, you took my tweet. You took my image. Team Hold was like, well, I got it on DM. Do you have a tweet? I'll share it. And he's like, it's fine. Do you, boo-boo? So anyway, here it is. NBA Top Shot player leaderboards. So here we go. Win moment rewards from players who earn the following accolades at the end of the 2022-2023 NBA season. To be revealed. Moment reward. Okay? We got rewards for the most valuable player, the rookie of the year, the defensive player of the year, the offensive player of the year, the all-NBA first team, and the all-NBA rookie first team. So what do I like about this? What I like about this is that by collecting the players that actually matter during the season, and not players that are bottlenecks, and not players that, I don't know, for whatever reason, some players increase in value and maybe they shouldn't, those players, you're going to get rewarded for collecting them. Now, we don't know how many collectors will get rewarded. We don't know a lot about this. We don't know if this is the final number of rewards, because this is not a whole lot of rewards, right? But this might just be the player rewards for the players that win those respective rewards. And there will be other player leaderboards, probably dozens of them, and you can win other things. And it's also very much dependent on what kind of agreements that NBA Top Shot creates with those players. Like our buddy Richard Sherman. We saw, for example, that NFL All Day sent emails to everyone who had bought Richard Sherman's moments that they could buy a Richard Sherman towel to cry into when his team throws an interception on the 1-yard line, when they have the league's best running back and they can punch it in from the 1-yard line. That was, when I talked about Richard Sherman today, I got to admit, I kind of wanted to show that clip, but I just didn't have time. But the point is, they had that connection with the player. So there will be more connections with more players, Of course, I wouldn't be shocked to see Harrison Barnes, Josh Hart, whatever, Cole Anthony, probably every player that was in that Vegas photo shoot the other day. Jaylen Brown was there. I forget who else was there. But I wouldn't be shocked if a lot of those players had deals in place where their player leaderboards get rewarded, because you got to remember that not all player leaderboards will get rewarded. But to put a bow on this, I think this is great. I think just people, this is the way rewarding collectors should look. You should get rewarded for betting on the players that are going to perform the best that season. That's what makes sense. The question is going to be now, so I guess only if you stack those players you get rewarded. Is that the way it's going to be? I mean, that's how it works kind of for Top Shot Score. So I would have to imagine, yes, that's how it's going to work. So if you think a certain player is going to be the rookie of the year, you just buy up a whole lot of their moments and you get rewarded. We don't know how many will get rewarded. We don't know if it'll be randomized. We don't know any of that. But I like this idea, I got to say. All right, let's see. We the People agrees with Mr. Baseballer. Lonzo's out the start, not the entire season. Plot twist, the Jazz are going to the playoffs. Corey blames it all on Pyland. Pyland crashed the whole market, says Poker Pro Eric. Tandy says Poker Pro Eric is a mess. Is that what I said? Snooze definitely blames it on Pyland. Well, Pyland getting a lot of heat today. Weisberg, pretty firmly disagree with where you went there, Tandy, but you do you. I'm actually not even sure what this point is because that was 5 minutes ago. Weisberg, wait for me to catch up with the comments and we can talk about this. Hold on. Was this about the world economy? I don't know. But yeah, if that's what it was, I do agree. Those are my opinions, guys. Sorry. Mr. Baseball, I always hear people say the moments are useless, but you could say that about cards, art, music, etc. I do appreciate we are relatively new, however, and it takes time to grow. Agreed. Boo Devane is going to flex the Kem Birch leaderboards. Arsenic is the leader on the Cody Zeller, or is he? Is he the one who has like 3 million Cody Zellers? I would imagine. Offensive Player of the Year. Is that what it said? Offensive Player of the Year? It did. Offensive Player of the Year award. So yeah, obviously this was not ready. This was like a very much half-baked thing that was not ready to share at all, because I've never heard of an Offensive Player of the Year award. Have you guys? So maybe we shouldn't be reading too much into that. So that's what Snow is saying as well. We're getting a lot of Offensive Player in the Year. So yeah, I definitely missed that. When I was looking at that. Let's see. We the People is kind of saying how crazy it is that this gets people hyped. Poker Pro, the Seattle Storm are ahead, 89-85. Airplane is saying, wow. What did I say, guys? I don't even know what I said. Kevin is saying, yo, Tandy, what do you think about NBA Top Shot Super Draft contest hosted and ran by, quote unquote, the judge? I think it's awesome utility and big prizes for using your Top Shot moments to enter. Listen, we are fans of the judge on this show. We like the judgy. We had a show with the judgy called The Morning Roast. I happened to watch a little bit of it the other day, and it holds up. It was funny. It was fun. But now the judge is too busy. But yeah, I think those are great ideas, and they should continue with the Super Draft rewards. Poker Pro, betting on them to have the best season is awkward too, since mint counts will come into play. I'd rather have the lower minted player. That's true. That's going to play into this. So yeah, I don't know how they're going to figure this one out, guys. I really don't. I guess it has to be TSS related. So it's going to be like buying up the player. And if it's low mint, you're going to have to spend, and hopefully that reward will be worth a lot in relativity, right? Okay. So let's see what else we got. We got the emojis. I wish those were from the real free sex account though, Stan Loves. All right. We got the waterfalls, the love, the thumbs, the hugs, and the waterfalls again. So Stan Loves is trying some new things, some new emojis. Mr. Baseballer, they do have the Silver Slugger in baseball and Maurice Richard in hockey for best defensive players. Yeah, but they don't have that in the NBA. They have the MVP, which is very often a offensive leaning award. All right, so let's see what else we got here real quick. I did want to talk on one thing, actually. It was a tweet that was shared by the First Mint. Does that mean we need to get LG in here? LG, where are you? LG? Calling LG. Are you out there? Can you talk about this tweet you shared? What's up, everybody? Bud Light and the NFL and Dapper Labs truck. Looks like Dapper is doing something with Bud Light and the NFL for Survivor Pick'em. The prizes: 1 year worth of beer, tickets to the Super Bowl, and NFL jerseys. All right. Thank you, LG. I appreciate that. You can go now. Thank you. So, what I think is cool about this, by the way, this is why I think this is actually a big deal. This could be a bigger deal than we think. And this is why. This is a potential revenue model for Dapper Labs that has nothing to do with selling packs. Now, I don't know anything about the details of this agreement, but as more and more big brands get on board with Dapper Labs, ideally, I'd like to think that Bud Light is paying Dapper Labs for making this all happen to the tune of millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'd like to think that. I have no clue if that's the truth. By the way, there was a Sue Bird game winner just now. So there you go. Don't talk badly about WNBA. Go look at that game winner. I'll check it out on Twitter after the show. But my point is that this is a potential revenue stream for Dapper Labs that has nothing to do with selling packs. That is a really big deal. I could be way off on this. I could be way off. Maybe they're not taking any money from Bud Light. But if Bud Light gets involved with Dapper Labs and realizes that Dapper Labs is the group that makes this all happen and can bring them into the NFT collectible space turnkey style, nice and easy, and they get a bunch of money for that, then we don't have to get concerned when we hear things like Dapper Labs is spending tens of millions of dollars in marketing. Because there was one Twitter user who has a lot of very interesting takes and analytical takes on Top Shot, right? And I can't look at him right now because I don't want to go into my DMs at the moment. But the point is that he was concerned about this idea about marketing, and he made a thread about it. And he said that, okay, I guess we just went into OT. Asia Wilson, is that what happened? Asia Wilson? I don't even know what's going on. Sorry, guys. But that game just went into OT, the WNBA game. So if you're paying attention, there you go. But what I'm trying to say here is that he was concerned about the marketing spend because he thinks, well, if the marketing spend goes way up, they got to make that money back somehow. They're not just going to not make that money back. So where does the money come from? And in his opinion, it comes from pack drops, which can negatively affect the user base if we make circulation supply errors again. So when I saw this, I felt like, oh, well, if we have more of these situations with Ticketmaster, with Bud Light, and with all these big brands, then Dapper Labs as a whole, and hopefully NBA Top Shot specifically, can take in a whole lot of revenue to the tunes of millions of dollars and spend that revenue back in marketing and not have to touch anything in terms of adjusting supply and increasing it to release more packs to pay off for these massive marketing budgets, right? So I found that interesting. I was only hearing him talk about it, and I do kind of need to go back into my Twitter and figure out his username if you guys want to go check him out. So let me go look at that real quick where I'm not sharing it. It's actually at Ballers8012. His name is Joey Bats 4. So if you want to check him out, he's Joey Bats 4. So he has a lot of analytical takes on Top Shot, and some of them are kind of a little critical about supply. And so I would actually love to hear his take on this, to be honest. So let's catch up with the comments here. So another thing just happened. I guess this WNBA game is kind of crazy. Do we need to like bring up the game? Some craziness is happening in the WNBA. I feel like we're missing a all-time game right now. So if we go to the game cast, we just went into, no, we're in the fourth now. It's 92-92 going into the fourth. Are there any other WNBA games happening right now? I don't know. As I said, I don't really follow the WNBA, as you can tell. But it looks like that's a good game for those who like it. All right. Great game. Great game. Asia Wilson took 4 steps on that inbound pass to take the lead. All right, so a deep threat is saying, if Dapper takes over the world, how long does it take to trickle down to ballers, Seuss, flunks? Good question, a deep threat. I mean, if they really take over the world, if they become like Apple, then it's a matter of time, right? But that's a hard one for me to answer, honestly. Uh, Tandy, watch party. Yeah, I don't have the watch party app. If I did, we could do it. Unfortunately, I don't, and I definitely cannot go find some kind of a stream, or we will get shut down. All right, guys. So let me see if I got anything else here. We talked WNBA drop. We talked pack value not being so hot. We talked player leaderboards. We talked locking anxiety with the bottlenecks up. We talked the cutoff being after September 6th. We talked a little bit more after our Janie convo. We talked about the Series 1 packs and how much people loved gambling on those. And we talked about all day and the players buying their moments and the onboarding still being quite difficult even after all that marketing. And we talked about Dapper revenue not coming from packs and why that excites me. And I hope that I'm not wrong because I don't actually have any solid data on that. But that's about it. We'll take a couple more minutes to just see if anyone has any questions in the chat, and then we'll call it a day. But I do thank you all for hanging out because I imagine this is probably a pretty nice summer's day over there, wherever you are. And you're here with me at 4 o'clock. So thank you. It's really hot in New York City. I just checked that out. 84 degrees, but with a 15% chance of rain. So let's see. Did I set a Rumble all day lineup? I did not because I collect very few all day moments. And Mr. Baseballer is asking, did you guys see the Bored Ape founders interview on Full Send? I feel like that interview hurt the value. Thoughts? I did not listen to that interview. And Tandy NFTs is saying, let's all be thankful that Ranty Tandy got to rest this holiday weekend. So I guess you're saying I was not very ranty. That's okay. I am a little tired, to be perfectly honest, but that's okay. Noam, nowhere I'd rather be than here with you. Thank you, Noam. Thank you. I take that to heart. So let's see. Feels like 95 in Jersey. So I guess that's why you guys are watching me and not outside, because you're just going to sweat like a dog on the way to the car. I think that's why. You either got to go to the beach or you got to just sit in the AC. I went to some beaches in Jersey when I lived in Brooklyn, and there's some beautiful beaches in Jersey, but sometimes there's a problem with beaches, not just in Jersey, but anywhere in the world. And that is the portable boombox. So I don't know if your beach where you go has a sign that says no music pollution, but there's nothing worse than finding a spot on the beach, putting down your towel, digging the hole to get that umbrella in, right? Just gotta put some muscle into it, really get that umbrella in there so it doesn't fly away. Everything's all set up. You brought your cooler, you got your chairs out, you take your seat, and what happens? You know what happens. Someone sits down right next to you or right in back of you and starts playing that music. Ooh, it's loud. It's loud. That is some loud music. And it just ruins it, man. Just ruins it. And that's the worst part about going to the beach with people who use their own boom boxes. So I just wanted to talk about that for a second. So anyways, we love the community. We haven't really played many clips tonight, but how about we just do some we love the community.
We love the community.
And that's true. I love all you here in the chat with me today on basically a summer's day. So thank you for all being here with me tonight, or for my night, for you the afternoon. I appreciate it. Corey, people still have boom boxes. Not the boom boxes, sorry, but you know the Bluetooth speakers? You know, like they're like this big, the JBLs, and they're getting louder and they're smaller, right? Like this could be a boom box, right? Not a boom box. I keep saying boom box. A Bluetooth speaker. As you can tell, I'm old. No, it's not the people like in the 80s that held the boombox up here with the big speakers, big circular speakers in front of and in back of their heads, you know, listening to like Run DMC. I would actually almost appreciate that. But no, I'm talking about the Bluetooth speakers that you can go buy from China for like $10 and ruin anyone's day. Poker Pro, Tandy, if you had to buy a team to lock, what moment or players would you think you would target? Um, by the way, this WNBA game's going crazy. But for me personally, it's the Celtics because that's my team. I think for every person, it's going to be their home team, right? There's probably a more clever answer to that, depending on teams that have really small bottlenecks and things like that, and go buy up all the bottlenecks. But it's a tricky one, man. I do think that this is a tricky one because of the nature of it getting very hard and more expensive, and like what's going to happen when a year from now, in our ideal scenario, when there's thousands and thousands of new users on this platform, how's that going to look from the Top Shot side when to be a part of these communities, like people maybe can't even get in anymore because there's like no items for sale on the bottlenecks. So that is definitely tricky. That gives me some pause. I don't know. I got to think about it more. I got to talk to some people, and we got to figure out. We got to think about what this is going to look like in the future. So yeah, 34, 32 people. Drop a like, folks. It's not. It's not. It's not that hard to hit that thumbs up button, is it? Make boomboxes great again. So Poker Pro says, sorry, I asked that question horribly. I mean, what reward players would you want to go after? Like Kemba Walker on Boston. Definitely don't want to go after Kemba Walker on Boston. We have these duo rewards, right? So I don't know how far back it's going. I think it's from the 2000s, if I believe. So I'd love to see like an Antoine Walker, Paul Pierce moment as a Celtics fan. I mean, if I'm a Kings fan, you probably want Jason Williams and Chris Webber or something like that, or Doug Christie, or from that team that got absolutely demolished by the refs when they should have won and they lost to the Lakers because it was a complete fix. That team, you probably would love to see some of those guys again, wouldn't you? So 2010. Okay, so I don't believe that. That's definitely not Antoine Walker. So 2010 as a Celtics fan. I don't know. I can't even think about it right now, but I wouldn't mind some Paul Pierce, of course. Although when did he get traded to the Nets? Was that around 2010? Could have been. I don't remember. But we the people, does a low bar of locking and leaderboards move the needle for you personally? The low bar? I don't think it's that low, we the people. You think it's low? It's not low. If they make it lower, is that a good thing? I mean, I think it's just going to end up in tiers. That's what Jay Metz was talking about today, I think. That's probably where we're going to go with this. Because in the future, there might not be any more S1 bottlenecks for sale. Or they'll just be massively expensive. So I imagine that it will go that way. So Jason Williams was gone by that date. Chris Webber was gone by that date. Yeah, I don't know if I really know my 2010, 2019 Sacramento Kings, but I'm sure you have a duo that you'd love to see. So Tandy NFT's got a light righty Tandy or ranty Tandy. Oh, got a light ranty Tandy about boomboxes on the beach. That's true. You got a tired Tandy right now. I'll tell you that much. It's been a long week. It's a very high bar. Bluetooth speakers, Lakers leaderboard, top 750 is like impossible. So there you go. All right. Listen, everybody. We could have gone longer, but I think an hour 11 is just fine. We had a nice chat tonight. I hope it was good for you. It's good for me, of course. And hey, it's nice to be with you guys again. Last week I was completely tired. The week before we had Janie, and we'll have some fun though leading up to the NBA season. All right, we're probably gonna get Mikey Zakarian on here in the next 4 weeks, and some other guests, and we'll have some more ranty Tandy. I'll try to drink some caffeine, get a little more ranty, but everything's going just fine at the moment. Let's just keep looking at what happens this week. We'll probably hear something about the snapshot, I imagine, and maybe within the next couple weeks we'll hear about this run it back 86-87 pack. So that'll be interesting. So thank you, Andy. Thank you, Kevin. Great show. I appreciate that. And Poker Pro, I guess I got to go find that stream. But now it looks like Las Vegas is going to win. Aja Wilson is going to take that game, it looks like. Aja Wilson, I believe. So we the people later. Great stuff. I appreciate it. I appreciate you all. And thank you, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. And we will see each other soon. We'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.
Static Selector.